Welcome folks to the house that never sleeps. Welcome back. What I'm about to show you is my way of restoring acid lead batteries, okay? 12 volt car batteries or 12 volt lawnmower batteries, even 6 volt. As long as they're a lead acid battery. This works on 90% of the batteries I've did it on, okay? Now, you're doing this at your own risk, so if you do it, be careful, and always remember, welcome to my laboratory where safety is #1 priority. Woo! So anyways, safety's first. So you always want to wear eye protection when you do this, and like I said in the other video, I've watched a lot of YouTube videos about this, and none of them really gave a proper solution mixture. Or some of them didn't even mention one of the mixtures I'm going to show you. I think a few of them did, but they didn't have the mixture right. I guess it worked for them. But if you do what I'm about to show you, this will work on every battery, every acid lead battery that has even remotely a tiny bit of life left in it. It can even be completely dead and have a bad cell, and a dead cell, or more than one dead cell. Sometimes what I'm about to show you here will still work on a battery like that. So let me get the camera in hand here. I'll show you what's going on now, and I'll show you what we got to do. I don't have a remote up here with me, so hold on. I've got to do it manually. This just backs up what I already showed you in the other video. You see that E10, E-10, okay? A, B, C, D, E. That's the 5th month. January, February, March, April, May. The 10 means 2010. Now if you look over here, it says shipped May 2010. So if you can find a sticker or embossed into the plastic on your battery a letter and a number like that, it almost always is the date and the year, the month and the year that battery was made. Now this old battery is old. It would not crank this lawnmower over on a hot summer day. Why am I charging it, you ask? Well, to do the process I'm about to show you, you want to have a little bit of charge in your batteries. The battery is boiling, not vigorously, but it's boiling pretty good. Every cell is boiling, which is a good sign. That means every cell is, there's no dead cells, or so that would appear to be. First thing you want to do, even though your battery will not take charge, the first thing you want to do is charge it up a little bit, and I'll show you why in a few minutes. I have this 1 amp, little 12 volt 1 amp charger hooked up to it. It's been hooked up to it all night long. It's almost been 24 hours. And you want to have, you know, a little tiny bit of charge in the battery, as much as the thing will take anyway when you start this. So let me get this battery out of the lawnmower. This lawnmower has not been cranked this year. I pushed it over here from the other building, and I used it last summer, and I always had to jump it off of this big charger here and start it off of that. And then it would run, but it wouldn't start anymore the rest of the day until I hooked it up to the big charger. So the battery is totally shot, and I'm going to show you now. I'm going to take the battery out, and I'm going to show you what we got to do to restore this battery back to working condition. 2010, it's 7 years, it'll be 7 years old this May. So if we can make that battery crank this mower, you know, we have accomplished a great deal. Now this is going to be over, this video is going to be over a period of several days, because I got to trickle charge that thing several times, 24 hours, a couple of times. So it's going to be over several days before you hear it crank. But anyways, hold on, let me get the battery out, get the charger unhooked, the battery out of the mower, and we'll get started. So here we go. Got regular baking soda. That's all this is, just baking soda. I have a little set of scales right here. You're not going to be able to see very well, but I'm going to measure out 10 ounces of baking soda. It's very hard to see here. It's got a plastic container I'm going to set on there, and I'm going to measure out until I get 10 ounces, and that'll be this thing almost completely full to make up 10 ounces of baking soda. There's 3 ounces. I did this so many times, that's how I know how much it's going to take. This mixture that I'm about to show you will work, like I said, on any acid lead batteries. There's 8.22 ounces. Doesn't matter the size of the batteries. And there's exactly 10.03 ounces. 10.03 ounces of baking soda. Now, to do this with, you're going to need distilled water, but you don't need it right now. Right now, you just want warm water, okay? And I'm going to distribute all 10 ounces of this into this warm 1 gallon. It's got to be 1 gallon of water to get the proper solution. Now, this is going to take a little bit, but you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just mixing the baking soda with a gallon of warm, not hot water, but fairly warm water. And this is going to take a little bit, so I won't bore you to death with it. I'm just going to pause the camera until I get all this mixed, and then I'll bring you back, show you what's up next. Hold on. Take our old battery here that you've seen, and we just want to dump all the old acid out. You can see how nasty that acid is, how ugly it is. Roll the battery around, turn it around. Try to pour everything out of it you possibly can get out. See, it's still coming out a little bit. Now this is the baking soda is the step that I saw left out of almost every video that I watched. So anyways, I hope the camera's getting how black that is. Yeah, look what came out of that battery, man. It looks like used motor oil. I mean, it's terrible. It's filthy. It's just horrendous looking. But that's the key. You want to get all that old nasty stuff out of your battery. And that's where the baking soda comes in. Hold on, let me dispose of that. I got to put it in an old bottle or something. I'll bring you right back. Now the battery is empty, okay? It's going to bubble up and all kinds of havoc. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear this, but it's bubbling like crazy. You want to fill every cell up with this stuff. Fill them up. Let it bubble. I don't know if the camera's getting that or not, but boy, she's gurgling big time. I doubt you can even hear it, but hear that? I can get some more in it. Like I say, this does not have to be distilled water, not yet. We will need distilled water. Look at that. I hope the camera's getting that, man. I can't tell if it is or not, but this, as you use your battery over years, over time, sulfate crystals form inside the battery. The crystals stick to the plates. Sulfate builds up between the plates. And this is not going to get rid of all of it. It's going to get rid of a lot of it, okay? Check that out, man. Can you hear that? Now when I pour this battery out again, I want you to see what comes out of it the second time. All we're doing right now is just boiling the old, look at that. We're just boiling the old sulfate and crystals, trying to loosen them from the plates. You want to make sure all the plates are completely covered with this solution. I should set the camera over here closer probably so you can see that. Hopefully you're seeing it. Check that out. Bubble City, man. It is going to town bubbling. That's what we want. If you have just the tiniest amount of charge in it, it helps to short those plates out and make these bubbles. I did this to a full charge battery before, and you can, but get back because it can shoot up out of the battery. That's the way it did in my case anyway. I think that one's full. Look at that. See what I'm talking about? That's what you want to see. That's what you like to see. A full charged battery, like I say, it will bubble completely out of the cell and shoot up in the air. She's full, I think. Yeah, they all look like they've leveled off. Still bubbling pretty good. You just want to lightly put these caps back on. I've had these caps to blow off before, and you don't really want that. There is a breather hole in the caps. If you can make sure that breather hole is pointed away from you, like so. Because like I say, I've had these to blow off. I can hear it leaking off. This baking soda neutralizes all of the acid. You know, if it wasn't for that, you could pour it right out on the ground. If it wasn't for the lead, the acid will neutralize itself eventually and be just fine. But never pour this stuff into Mother Earth. Don't do it. If you get caught at it, you're going up the creek. Just be very careful when you do this, because if you put the caps on it tight, like I say, I've had them to blow completely off before. You just want to roll that battery around like so. You know, be pretty rough with it. Don't worry about hurting the battery, or, you know, you want to be kind of vigorous with it. Shake it up good. Make that shit boil. Because that's the key, is getting all that sulfate crystals out that you can get. This, like I said, it won't completely desulfate the battery. Not completely. But it sure does help a lot. It gets rid of a lot of that. Wait till you see what I pour out of this battery. And all this does is just help break the crystals loose from the plates. You saw the clear water that we poured into this battery with baking soda. Look at it now. Look at it now, folks. Look at the shit that came out of that battery. I think we should do this one more time. Now normally, unless the battery is really bad, I wouldn't do this a second time. But because this battery is really bad, I am going to do it a second time with what I have, solution I have left here. And you can see it start bubbling again just like it did. And we will have very much bubbles again. I don't have enough to completely fill the entire battery up. So I want to try to get a little bit in each cell. Okay, this is the second baking soda solution. Just want to show you what, it's still bubbling like crazy. But I'll show you what it looks like. You can see it bubbling like nuts inside of there. It's still dirty, terribly dirty, black ugliness. Try to get as much of it out as you can, okay? Now if I really cared about this battery, really cared about it, I would mix up 10 more ounces of baking soda to 1 gallon of water, and I do all this over again. But I don't really care about it. It's old. I just need it for a lawnmower. So hold on, I'll show you the next step. I have here 12 ounces, measured out 12 ounces of Epsom salt. Okay, I have 1 gallon of distilled water, and it does have to be distilled water. You can't use tap water or just anything. It has to be distilled water. Now, I recommend heating your distilled water almost to a boiling point. It doesn't have to boil, but by it being hot, helps this Epsom salt to dissolve in the water better. You want every bit of the Epsom salt dissolved into that 1 gallon of distilled water. That's very important. So if you can heat your water, get it fairly hot, really hot, but not boiling. No need to boil it. If you boil it, you know, you're probably just wasting your time. Now, just going to shake this up good. Here is our lifeblood for the battery. Make sure there's no pressure build up in that. Shouldn't be. And it shouldn't boil over out of that battery like the baking soda did. The only thing I'm going to do now is dump this into the battery. I've got to get my safety gargles. I've got to go get my gargles. Anyways, here we go. I'm going to make sure this is dissolved. Every single bit. Like I say, if you heat your water almost to a boiling point, not quite boiling, and it'll cool off quite a lot by the time you get the salt added to it and get it ready to pour into the battery. It'll be cooled off plenty. You still want it to be warm if possible. This solution is the key. Now 12 ounces of measured out 12 ounces of Epsom salt in 1 gallon of distilled water like this, and we are going to turn this into electrolytic fluid. This is the lifeblood of this battery. So I think we're safe to start pouring it in there. Sounds like the school bus is running. So yeah, man, that's good enough. It looks almost clear. There again, protect your eyes, stay back, and be very careful not to splash this any more than necessary. Like I said, the YouTube videos I watched didn't even mention the baking soda solution. Didn't even mention it, man. See, that's not bubbling up like the baking soda solution did. Fill every cell completely up till the plates, at least until all the plates are covered. If you run it over a little bit, that's okay too. When you go charging this thing, it's probably going to boil down a little bit. You may even have to add some more later on after the charge. So keep some of this around. Say we gave this battery a blood transfusion, an electrolytic fluid transfusion. Oh God, I think I've been out in the heat too long. Now you want to shake that just a little bit, like so. And usually the fluid level will drop a little bit, as you see it did in a couple of cells. Helps get the bubbles out from the plates. Just shake it up a little bit. This one needs a little tiny bit more. May have to add a little bit like so. That's way too damn much, but what are you going to do? That one can use some. And we are charging. Now you're not going to see any bubbles down in there for a good long while, okay? I just now put it on charge, and I got it on this tiny little charger right there. You can see it's a 1 amp 12 volt charger, 1 amp rate. It's only going to put 1 amp into the battery. Now a smart charger on this will think that battery is full charge and it'll kick off. A smart charger like that one right there. If you want to use a dumb charger like that one and keep a trickle charge on that battery at least 24 to 36 hours. I would even say 48 hours is probably what I'm going to leave this one. Now tomorrow we'll come back up here and check it. Should see bubbles in there then in the electrolytic fluid that we are creating. See there, you can see no bubbles right now. No bubbles here, even though it's charging. But it's going to take it a while, you know, to start bubbling and cooking and storing charge. We desulfated it as best we could. Remember, 10 ounces of regular baking soda. Just regular old baking soda, 10 ounces of that measured into a gallon of water. It doesn't have to be distilled water for that. Any water, as long as it's clean. And you may want to rinse the battery out like I showed you twice, 3 or even 4 times if you care about the battery and you really want to bring it back and make it last. I would recommend rinsing it 4 times with that. That solution in most videos I watched on YouTube didn't even have mentioned baking soda or how much of it, you know, to mix or anything. 10 ounces in a gallon of water will do a small battery like that, as well as these big batteries here that I showed you before, that I'm going to do at least 1 or 2 of those and save them. And that lawnmower right there needs it. The battery in it needs it. So I'm going to be doing this quite a bit more. Just remember, 10 ounces of baking soda per gallon of any water. Rinse the battery out, let it cook, let it boil, let all those cells bubble out good, roll the battery around, bounce it, kind of bang it against the ground or whatever to loosen up those sulfate crystals and get them loose from the plate so you can pour them out, bubble them out. Then when you're convinced it's clean as you want it, mix 12 ounces of Epsom salt, right there you go, to 1 gallon of distilled water. Now it's got to be distilled water here. I've never tried anything else. I've always used distilled water. I've always used this mixture that I'm telling you on these 2 solutions. And like I say, 95% of the time you can bring that battery back and make it usable and get another 3 or 4 years out of it usually. So in a couple days we'll come back and we'll put that battery in this mower that has not been started this year. And like I said, that battery wouldn't crank this mower. I could charge it all day long and it would not crank this mower on a hot summer day. It just wouldn't do it. The solenoid would just click, 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 click. That's how it would do. And it wouldn't turn over. So in 2 or 3 days I'll come back. I'll bring you along with me for the ride, and we will check for bubbles down in the cells here. I'm going to leave that, I think, 48 hours, but I'll check it tomorrow. And after 48 hours or so, I'll bring you back. We'll put the battery back into this mower, which has not been cranked this year, and we'll see if it revived that battery or not. So I hope this helps some of you guys. You asked for it. You got it at the house that never sleeps. Thanks for watching. Get you a t-shirt, guys. Cheers. I'll see you in a couple days. Lost my goddamn dardles.